started, we're going to need a few things to make the frame for the hat. One of which is going to be 2 pieces of cardboard because we're going to make it 2 layers thick. I'm using a hat so that I already have a frame. And you need a few tools to get started. So what I did was put my hat on and decided how far around the rim do I want to make my mushroom hat. So to do that, I measured the hat, measured how much I wanted it to be, and I cut myself a string to 11 inches. So I'm going to find the center point, or at least close to the center point. That's good. And then we're just going to try to hold it steady and make as circular as we possibly can. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just so that we can get that circle cut out. Once you have that, you just have to cut it out. I got big scissors, little scissors, X-Acto knife, whatever you think you may need. We're going to do 1 layer at a time. So let's move this layer. And we'll relocate our hat for a minute. And we're going to start with just cutting this circle out. So now we have our first one down. Next step is to take your pencil and you just want to trace the circle you made from the first one onto the second one. So just trace that, cut it out, and I'll be right back when I have the second one completed. Our next step is to take our hat. You want to measure the inside, find out where your head space is going to actually be. Mine is 7.5 to 8 inches. Find your center spot. So to do that, it should be at 11 inches. Let me check that. No, not exactly at 11. So there's 11. Here's 11. And here's 11. So our center is going to be right about here. We want it to be 8 inches across total. So I'm going to put 4 in the center. Make my mark for 8 inches. 4 in the center. Make your mark for 8 inches. I'm doing this several times on different angles to help me get my circle for my head circumference. Oops. I'm going to draw a line there. Eight, 4 to 1, 4, 8, 4, 1, another one, 8, 4, 1. So we have a little bit of a star shape here. I'm going to use that to actually cut out my circle, but first I'm just going to kind of attach each one of these in a circular kind of motion, making our circle here for our head. Okay, and then we're just going to cut that out. It's going to be a little more trickier to cut this one out than the other, so I'm going to use a cutting board, and I'm going to use an X-Acto knife. Okay, and we're going to start by cutting through our lines. They don't have to be exact, just to help us cut this out. So we can just go ahead and pop all these little pieces out. And we have our brim for our hat. Now we just need to repeat that. So take your second one, put it underneath. So you get your second piece, line it up, take your pencil, and draw that circle you just cut out. We're going to duplicate this. Now we're just going to cut that circle out. Okay, now we have both pieces cut out. The hat should fit on there. Wondering if it's going to fit under it better. So the brim helps hold the hat up. So it's going to look like this, but first I want to tape these two pieces together. Do we want to do it this way? Okay, so to do it this way, we're going to have to tape the hat to the cardboard, and I'm going to need a way to sit this up off the ground so I can work on it. So let me go get a bowl, and that'll help me work with it. So what I'm going to do is pick up my hat, go put it in this bowl just so that it sits up, and I can work on it a little better. Okay, So I have a hot glue gun here. It is warming up. In the process, we're going to need some strips of cardboard as well. So let's just set our hat aside for a minute. Get our cutting board back out. And we're going to take some more pieces of cardboard. I'm going to go with the grain. It'll be easier to cut it. And we want it to be strips that are 2 inches long. So 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1. Do that on the bottom. Okay. You can kind of line them up some. Doesn't have to be perfect because it's all going to be covered up. But just to make it a little easier to cut, we're going to draw us a line. There's another line. We're just going to keep going. We're probably going to need some longer strips too, so I'll cut some that are a little longer. But these first couple should be enough to get us started. And this last one's just a little bit. Okay. So now, we don't have to do it perfectly, but we do need to try and make it a little bit lined up. We're just going to cut these. There we go. And I'll take these and just set them aside for right now. Move our cutting board back out of the way. Then we're going to bring our hat back over. And I'm going to give it a little bead of glue around the bottom of the hat here. I think that might help hold it into place. So I'm just going to lift the hat, put a dab of glue on there, and then lower the hat, and let that glue hold in place. And come across to the other side. Do the same thing. Alright, our next step is going to be to go ahead and tape the hat down a little bit. This glue is going to hold it pretty good, but I just want to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. We also could tape it on the other side, but I think we want to put a little tape on this side. We're just going to tape the hat down. It's glued and it's taped, so it shouldn't go anywhere. All of this is going to get covered up with fabric, so you're not going to see any of this. This is just the framework for the hat. So come over here. Press that down in there nice and good. Make sure it's not going anywhere. Gonna add a little more. Okay, now it's taped down. It's glued down. And we're ready to flip it over and work on the top for a minute. So I take that bow out of there. As you can see, it needs glued or taped around the edge here just to kind of help hold it in place. Maybe we'll try a little tape. Now I need to start making some framing. To do that, I need to make one piece go across the entire part of the hat from this side to this side. So to do that, I need some longer pieces than this. This is just some reinforcements we're going to use here in a minute. So let's go ahead and set our hat aside and get some more cardboard. I think this might be a long enough piece. We might have to tape two pieces together, maybe. Bring our hat over here. First thing I want to do is bring these together. See how it's kind of sticking up? I don't know if I want it to do that, but we're going to put one up over here. And the thing is, it's not reaching, so I need to first bend your cardboard every couple inches, bend it so that it is more pliable. So we're just going to make that more pliable. Okay. We're going to get a second one. Do the same thing. Just want to make it so that it is flexible and easy to bend. Okay. Now we're going to take these two pieces. Okay, so we'll take these two pieces. We're going to tape them together. So just take them. One side, get the other side, tape it down, bring it around, just so that it's all one piece. If you have cardboard that's long enough to do the whole rim, go for it. Okay. Now, the hat looks like it wants to go right about here. Right about here. Alright, so I'm going to cut off the end, leaving enough room to tape it down. Like that. I think I might give it a spot of glue. Give it a spot of glue. That'll help hold that in place. Now we want to bring it up over the hat, kind of using the hat as our top. Bring it down. And then we're going to tape it here. So we're going to cut it right about there. We're going to just lift that up, give it a little glue, and put that back down. And that's our first piece of that. I'm going to take a piece of tape and tape that over just so that it's double secured. I don't want this falling apart on me. So we're just going to tape that around and down. Okay. Do the same thing to the other side. Okay. Now we just do the same thing to the other side. Now we're going to go ahead and use some of these shorter ones that we did, like this. We're going to bring them down and up to the top. So you got to keep that bending going. We're going to tape that to the top like that. Let me get a spot of glue in between here. Just to help bring these together. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead. We're going to glue this one here. Maybe just a touch of it off. There we go. And that'll fit right there. So we're going to go ahead and glue that down. Start with the bottom side. Okay, I'm going to trim these edges off just so that they're not so squared off. Might make it a little easier when we're trying to pad it up a little bit. Okay, and then I'm just going to touch some glue up here on the top. that down so that they join together. Get our next one, prep it up. So you want to get that end bent so that it can sit here. And then you want it to come up, and we're going to cut a little excess off. Actually, let's do our bending first to make sure I have enough room. Bend your cardboard so that it is in the right shape. All right, now I want to cut it off a little bit, and I'm going to cut those edges a little rounder. Put a spot of glue on the bottom. And find your center here between the two. And go ahead and push that down. See where this lays. We're going to go ahead and give it a glue up here. And then we're going to turn it, and we're going to do the same thing here and here. So we have our hat frame built. Now it's a matter of kind of getting some filling put in here so it has some poofiness. And to hold that filling, I'm going to use some of this tooling. It's just a little pack of Crafter Square Tool, 3 yards by 6 inches. We're just going to kind of run that from one side over to the other, and we're going to hot glue that down. So just a little bit of glue. And you just kind of put it down in there. We can trim up all the edges when we're done. I think I need to maybe use something else to press down. So is it stuck? Yes. So then we're going to bring it across to the other side. I can always trim it up in a little bit, so let's just cut extra now so we have enough. Okay. So now we're going to run it across and pull it a little tight, and that's where we want to glue. So we're just going to pull this up, get some glue here, and then we're pull it down until it is tight. And I don't want to get my fingers into this glue. So you want to press that down in there, make sure it stays. Give it a little push down in. I put a little too much glue on this side, I think. It's going to push up through, but that's okay. As long as it's holding it in place, we'll be all right. All right, that one's on. Feels pretty snug. Now we're going to go ahead and take it across and do another one just like it. One on this side, over to this side. These kind of join each other. I'm just going to give it a little dot of glue so they kind of stay together. Same thing over here. A little bit of glue just so that it stays together. Put some glue on this one. And then we'll put some glue over here on this one. There we go. We will let that dry for a minute. Next step is to get scissors. Actually, no. Next step is to get your filling. All I did was just purchased a pillow from a thrift store, and we're just going to take the filling right out of it. It didn't cost as much as going to the store and buying filler. Saves a little money. I'm just going to pop that in there. Give it a little poof. Make sure we're not losing the shape of our hat, because we want to make sure we have enough room for our head to fit in there. So if any fluff is in there too tight, you won't be able to get your head in. So there's that. Is this piece going to go across? It will, good enough. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and glue one piece of the tool here. We're just going to put that right down in the glue. And then I'm going to pull it back and let it stay open for a second. I want to fill this little spot here. Okay. That looks good. So we're going to bring it across. And then it'll come over here and be glued down, but we need to fill in this little section here some first. A little more filler. And then let's see what we can do here. I want some under that cardboard to help keep the shape. Maybe just a touch more. There we go. We're really gonna have to stretch this one, but we're gonna go ahead and get that one glued down too. Might need another glue stick. There we go. And then take that tooling, pull it super tight, and glue it down in there. Get it glued good. Let that set. And let that sit for a minute. While that's sitting, I'm going to go get some of my good scissors so I can cut this shear. This one's got tape on it, so it's a little sticky. So let me grab another pair of scissors and I'll be right back. Now you're just going to go around the edges and cut that extra tooling off. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect either. We're going to take the top fabric over top of this. And it's going to kind of wrap around and under. But we will go ahead and get the majority of this out of the way. Looks like a hot mess right now, but I think it's going to turn out really cute. Okay. So we're going to let that sit for a minute so that it can completely cure the glue. Our next step is going to be taking our fabric that we want to put on the top. I'm going for a red mushroom hat. So we're going to use some red fabric. I just picked up a tablecloth from a thrift store and we are going to cover it, cut it, and then glue it. All right. Now we just begin pulling it up and gluing it. I'm going to trim the sides when I'm done. Certain. Let's turn it and see. We're going to go to the other side. A little bit of glue. And pull that nice and tight. Okay. Now, if we turn our hat over, you see that we have a pretty good mushroom. Oh, I got a little bit of a line in it. I wish I would have put maybe some more padding on top, but it'll be okay once we add everything to it. Okay. There's a little spot of glue that didn't get put down. Okay. So now we're going to take our scissors and trim that red. So then just check that it's all glued pretty good. Here's a spot. Here's a little spot. Just kind of glue that down a little bit. Okay. All right. So from here, we're just gonna flip it over, and there's our mushroom hat. All we have to do is add the bottom, some fringe, some circles on top. It'll look great. All right, so let's flip our work back over. There we go. And then we're going to get some lace, and we're going to put the lace on it. So we're going to start with a little drop of glue. I'm going to put my lace right here on the end. Glue that down in and let that dry. Have our lace the whole way around. We're going to turn it over and take a look and see how it looks. How cute is that? That's adorable. Okay. Now we gotta work on our bottom, and then we gotta put some circles up on top of our mushroom. Okay, so our next step is to work on the gills of the bottom of the mushroom, and to do that I cut 9-inch strips of the fabric that I'm using, which I don't know if you can see it, but it has like a gold shimmer to it. What we're going to do is fold over the tip of the end here. We're going to secure that with our thread. Okay, so we're just going to get a nice little knot going here first. Okay. Then we're going to work our way the whole way across this piece of fabric, which I cut from a tablecloth. I'm not really sure what the length was. It's going to take several pieces put together to be able to do this. I've already done one. This is our second one. So you just kind of fold it over a little bit, and you're going to weave your needle through back and forth. So you're going to go in, go up some, go back through, go in, go up some, go back through. Then you're just going to pull that through, and it'll make a little pleat. That's going to make the gills look a little more realistic. So you're just going to do this the whole way across. I'm not going to show you me doing the whole thing, but you're just going to keep going back and forth and then pulling it through, back and forth, pull it through until you get the whole way to the end. Once you get to the end, then you can kind of space out some of these so that they're not as tight, but it'll give it a little bit of a pleat. So if you look here, this one I already have done. There's nothing exact about it. It's all completely just pinched in there so that it's ready to go around the brim of the inside of the hat. So let's go ahead and grab our hat and we'll see how much of this we need. Let's get our gills, put them on here, see what kind of room it takes. Not quite enough to go the whole way around the hat. I need just a little more. That's sad. Just a little tiny piece. Okay. So let's start with gluing down the inside rim of the hat. Part of the gill is going to get folded over. Okay. So we just keep going around the edge of the hat, gluing that down as we go. glue on here and glue that down. Okay, and then I'm going to take a piece that I need from here. I did this whole strand, but I need a little bit of it. Maybe like right there. Is this enough to go over the whole thing? No. Take it a little bit further up. There we go. And then we're just gonna trim that. And then we're going to glue this one down here. And then glue that pleat over a little bit. Okay. And we can continue on with gluing the rest of the hat. Right there at least. Okay. And we have a little bit of an overlap there, so we're good. All right. Now that that's finished, now it's going to be a matter of taking the edge of this, pleating it some, folding it under, and gluing it down. Okay, that's going to be a little time consuming, but it'll look really nice and it'll be more finished when it's finished like that. this one up, do it first. Then we'll put that back down, make a pleat there. So maybe we'll tuck this under and glue that a little bit. Just so that it looks a little more finished. We're going to turn that in a little. Okay. And we can just tuck this up under. Get a pleat going. Glue these. Fold that under, glue that, put it down in this pleat here. I'm going to glue it down into this pleat. Okay. And then glue it right over top. Like that. It'll crisscross a little there on the end, but that's okay. Okay, so the under part of our hat is complete. Let's go ahead. You see how we have that, guys? The hat's in there. We got pleats. We got lace on the end. Flip it over. And we have our dome. Next step is to cut out some white circles of different sizes and start gluing them onto the mushroom. So let's cut out some circles out of felt and we'll be right back. Okay, so I got some felt and I made a couple of shapes to follow. This is 4 sheets thick, so it'll make a few circles at the same time. They don't have to be exact circles. But I'm just going to cut these out. Okay, everything is glued down. So I think our hat is complete. It's just a matter of putting it on with the rest of the costume and seeing how it turned out. I think it turned out rather cute. So if we look at this side, we have the mushroom. We can kind of train this to come down some so it's not sticking straight up. So we got our mushroom here. Turn over our mushroom. We got our gills. So I think our hat is complete.